Hi everyone, this is Farida Salim from Circle of Care, and in this video we're going to talk about how is Circle of Care different. And I know that when a lot of us are thinking about whether I need counseling or where can I go for counseling or is this the right place for me? Uh, we want to make that decision knowing that we know what is the approach of the person you're going to. And so I thought it would be a good idea to share my approach with you guys. And I know last time I talked about how I use the principle of husna in approaching a lot of the problems that we face in our lives. But there's also something that is also important to me. The idea is how circle of care is not just being a passive bystander or just, a, a shoulder you can rest on and cry and someone who just listens to you and helps you vent out your emotions. Yes, that's part of counseling. But for me, from my experience, what I have seen, what works is also bringing in some more aspects into that wholesome approach of taking you not only as a person who's in difficulty or who needs guidance, but also who you are culturally, who you are traditionally, uh, perhaps what is faith in your life, and putting all those pieces together, and also bringing in some people from your circle of care in at times to kind of, help you get out of that state that you are in and restore your self-esteem, restore your balance, feel happy, and be a positive member in your circle of care. So before I tell you the approach, I just want to tell you that there have been so many years that I've been doing this with a lot of parents and youths and teens and young adults. And I just want to share one story without taking names. So this story comes from a child, a girl who was in a school I was working in. And so I was in charge of inclusion. So that's everything that has to do with neurodiverse learners or learners with different abilities, counseling and behavior and social and emotional and everything, right? So there's this sweet girl who's around in grade 8. Um, and these were three siblings. So the older one is also in our school, the younger one's also in our school. They're all of average students. But this one had a particular undiagnosed need of where it was difficult for her to manage the grade level expectation. It was impossible for her, technically speaking, given the mental capacity she has. She was a sweet little girl, and her personality was very introvert. She was a very scared kind of a girl. You will see she's just in a corner, just sailing through the day. She doesn't understand anything. She doesn't speak to anyone. She doesn't have any friends. Now, to help this person, we start talking to the mother first. And the mother is very, genuinely a nice mother. She's caring. She wants to help her girl. And she comes in a couple of times. And first, it's difficult for her to understand that. And what we were trying to do is we were trying to tell her that instead of putting her into an academically rigorous program, which is more damaging to her, take her to vocational training where she can gain some confidence, where can she can focus on one life skill or one career that she is good at or she has interest in. And I know it's a difficult journey because this girl was in a cocoon. It was difficult to get through her. She would just follow whatever you are saying. Did not have any ideas from on on her own. So I said, I know it's going to be a difficult journey, but instead of just pushing her through and traumatizing her even more, making her feel, that I am useless because I don't understand anything and I have to be pushed and someone has to sit with me to help me. It's not that age. You might want to take her for vocational training, give her a break, talk to her, let her gain some confidence back, and then let's see what she has to do. And so the mother, of after a few sittings, she understood. But now the problem is that she comes from a cultural background where she cannot make these decisions on her own. And instead of us telling her, no, you should, why shouldn't you? Oh my God. We said, okay, fine. Who are the people who are going to take this decision? And she's opening up now to us and she's saying, culturally, Miss Farida, it's supposed to be my husband who will make this decision, but he's in the US. And it's my mother-in-law who's in Pakistan. And we are in Dubai. So I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? And she said, could you talk to them, please? And I'm like, okay, all right, it's not part of the job. I am not paid for it, but you know what? It's going to help someone, so why not? So she books an appointment with us. She comes in, and we are on a conference call. And I'm talking to the mother-in-law back in Pakistan. I'm trying to explain to her that, see, this is the problem, and this girl is really not getting anything out of the school. And I'm trying to engage in a conversation with her. And after the first 5 minutes, she kind of, breaks in as well, and she's talking. And then she opens up to me and tells me, you know what? My own daughter, who's the aunt of this girl, was dyslexic, and she was diagnosed early on. But we did not have this guidance, so we did not know there are other options available. So we pushed her through schooling all the way through college. Finally, she did end up being a fashion designer, something she is good at. But those years were very difficult for us. So I'm happy you've brought this up. I'm going to talk to the dad of this girl, and we'll figure it out. And in a few months' time, from where the conversation started, we had reached a point where this girl was exiting school with a plan and with some hope. And so what did I learn from this story and from a lot of other stories like this that I have been in, I have played a part in? The first thing I understood was the importance of understanding cultures of people. You cannot um, help anyone unless you understand and be in that culture, right? So I'm not saying if you don't belong to a culture, you cannot help someone. What I'm saying is you cannot be in your culture and look at some other person and judge them out of culture, out of the lens of your culture, right? If that makes sense. So if you really want to help someone, first learn about the culture they are coming from, and I'm sure they are more than happy to tell you most of the times. And then try to find a solution within that paradigm rather than break it and say, oh, this is wrong, this is not how it works, this is not how it's supposed to be. Well, they're not there to listen to that. They're there so that you can understand their problem and perhaps give a solution, or not a solution but a way forward, right? Another thing which I found was very important was speaking the language of your client. And sometimes that means the literal language. Like in this story, I could speak the language of the grandmother. And so it was easier for me to build a rapport, to build a trust based relationship with her. But then sometimes it also means to speak the language at which they are in that emotional, cognitive, intellectual, spiritual journey right now. So it's important to understand the basic transaction is not the words, it's also sometimes the body language, non-verbal gestures, non-verbal signs that they're giving you. So it's very important to know the language of your client. Third thing I realized was the importance of reflection time. So this whole journey that I told you in this story took a couple of months. And there were times when the mother would come initially and say, you know what, this is a ridiculous idea. I'm not going to talk about it. And she would go back. And then for a few weeks she'll come back. She'll reflect on what we've talked about and she'll see, is it true? Is my daughter going through that trauma? And and the same thing for the other people around. Because you need them to absorb what you are trying to bring to their attention at times, right? And it's not easy sometimes. But if someone has come for counseling, I believe that's why they are there. They're there to be heard, but they're also there to be told, perhaps if this could be done differently, or perhaps if you could approach it differently, it would make a lot of difference. So give that reflection time, give that pause time, that time to absorb to the people you're working with. And most importantly, sometimes you need to bring in the people who are involved in that circle of care. I know most of the people approach this subject of counseling as empowering your client. Yes, it is true. But then there are times when they need to confront perhaps some things from their past, or they need help in um, coming to terms with some people or some conditions in their circle of care. And I feel if you have that trust relationship and if you have that rapport, it's a good thing to for sometimes invite those people in your circle of care, and see if that works out. If you're able to give them the framework, the right environment, the conducive environment where those things can be resolved, right? But obviously it has to be voluntarily, you cannot force anyone in. But just as a gist, so circle of care is a wholesome counseling approach where we don't focus on you as an individual only who has come to us. We don't extract you out of who you are. We take you as you are, and we are appreciative of it, and we want to make sure that we treat you as a product of your time, of your culture, of your traditions, and of your circumstances. And we are here to help you in that. So if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. And if you need any help, do contact us. Bye bye.